Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Helen of Helen Jeanne Designs and Hope-Filled Journals, and today I'm going to review this journal that I just received. And I purchased this journal. I wasn't given this journal, I purchased it because I am planning on doing some landscaping in our yard over the next few months into spring particularly, but right now I want to start learning about the landscaping. And I have a picture of some flowers that are currently in our yard, and so I looked them up, and I want to start a journal of showing the plants that we have and then doing some research on plants that I want to put in the yard. And so I thought this would be a good journal for that because it's already made. I like to make journals, but this is a leather-bound journal, and it has vintage pages. So, and they're also very thick. So I thought it would be a good one to try out. This is the view from my window, and this is what I would really like to landscape with various pretty flowers. So I'm starting this journal so that I can learn about different types of plants and make a decision on what I would like to plant for my flower garden. And if you'll notice in the back, there's quite a bit of ivy that is creeping down. So I am working on trying to pull that out so that it doesn't take over the plants as I plant them. Anyway, this is an ongoing project. I'm going to be using this journal, and I will update you as I go along, and hopefully by next spring I'll have some beautiful flowers. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to just experiment with it a little bit and try out different pens, see how the journal holds up, and give you my thoughts on the journal. I purchased this on Amazon. It is made by Nomad Crafts. It is a vintage leather-bound journal. It's genuine leather, and it does smell really nice when you open the package. You can smell that leather smell. This particular one is 7.5 by 5.5 inches, and they do come in 9 by 6, 11.5 by 8.25, and 13.5 by 8.5. I just wanted a small one, just so it could be convenient, and I can take it around with me, slip it in my purse if I want. It says that it has handmade paper, and as you can see, the paper is actually really thick. I think it will hold up well. It does say you can use paints and watercolor, and it holds up for different types of pen. And one of the things I thought was great is they give you a 1-year warranty or guarantee that if you don't love it, and if for some reason you don't like it and you want a refund, they'll give you a full refund without asking any questions. So anyway, it shows that they stand behind their product. It's got squared off edges here. I think they rounded. I may round them off myself, but I thought I would do some experimenting and go through just the different types of pens. And I've even got my calligraphy. I'm going to try the actual ink on it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to the back. And what I'm going to do just is I'm going to go through, and I'm going to say what the pen is. Some of them I used black just to compare, the ones that I had black ink, so that I can compare the same color, but some of them I don't have black ink. So what I'm going to do is go through and make the marks, and then I'll go through and I'll talk to you about them and see what I find. Okay, as you can see, most of the pens actually worked on here. Got a little bit of watercolor there. My micron pen, I don't know if it's just that the ink wasn't working very well, but it didn't seem to work as well on this paper as it normally does, because usually I use a micron pen all the time, and I use that particular one, so it might be getting low on ink, but I found that it was a little harder to write with it. The Staedtler fine liner worked really well. As you can see, it's nice and dark. The ink went on really smooth. The Tombow Twin Tone, the thick side has two sides. The thick side worked really well. The thin side didn't work so well, but it can be written on. The paper is nice and thick. The brush pen worked well. I think I would only use the ball end. I think it would be hard on the tips. For brush pens, they work better on smooth paper, and this paper is actually really rough. It's very thick and rough, so I wouldn't recommend using a brush pen. The zebra brush, the same. It worked well on here, but I think it would be hard on the tip, and I think it would get a lot of lint from the paper. The midliner works well, just doesn't show up well. The colors aren't, at least this particular one, it's a pretty vibrant color, but doesn't show up real well on this. The jelly rolls work really well. This one is the Jelly Roll Moonlight. It's It's kind of a pink color, and it actually worked pretty well on there. And the white pen Jelly Roll also showed up really well. You could definitely use those on here. The Sharpie paint pen, I think the paint pens actually work a little better on here because they go on the surface a little more and they don't absorb into the paper. So both the Sharpie and the Posca, I think the Posca is a little bit thicker point to it, so you can see it better. But those actually work really well on it, on the paper. Colored pencil, I only tried with the one color, but I think it has its place here. If you were doing some sort of artwork, I think colored pencils would add a touch to it. If you didn't want anything too bright, it works. It probably needs to be a little bit sharper than this, but you probably wouldn't be writing all the time with the colored pencil. You would probably be using it for artwork or coloring things in, so it would probably work. And the Tombow calligraphy pen, I'm going to say the same thing as the brush pens. I actually probably wouldn't use it on this rough paper. It works, but I think it would be hard on the tips. Ballpoint pen, this is just the particular one that I have. It's just an average quality. It works okay. I probably wouldn't be using a ballpoint pen in this. The calligraphy nib with the ink, it works on there and you can actually see it, but I personally, when I use a calligraphy nib, I like to use smooth paper. So like I said, it works, but I would be more inclined to actually write what I was going to write on a smooth paper and then glue it in here, if that makes sense. Watercolor, as you can see, it shows up, and the brighter color shows up a little better. The yellow was a little hard to see. Now, normally you probably wouldn't be writing with watercolor, but I made this little flower here, so you can see what artwork would look like. I'm not sure if you can see this very well on my video here. I hope that you can see this. I'll hold it up a little bit. So you can see it shows up and it's very thick. So I'm going to show you on the other side. There's no bleed through at all. Now this is just the color of the paper because I don't even feel any wetness. See how there's different shades where the paper's antiqued. And then on this side, again, there's absolutely no bleed through. So it's very thick, good quality paper. Just know that it is a rougher, thicker paper. And the dark color, I don't know, I kind of like the looks of the artwork on it. This is just a rough watercolor sketch, but acrylic paints I didn't try acrylic paints, but they would obviously hold up really well. So overall, my impression so far, obviously I would pick and choose what I wanted to use in it, but I really like it. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just do a quick page of what I intend to use the book for. So you can actually just watch along, and I'll let you know how it works out. Again, hopefully you can see this. No bleed through. No bleed through. Okay, so I went ahead and finished these pages off camera because I thought it was going to take up too much of your time, and then I thought I'd just show you what I did. The whole idea is to see how the book is going to work. So I did my pen test, and now this is going to show you how glue holds up. I used this Aleene's tacky glue, and it's sticking pretty well. I realized that I had too much information that I printed up, and I liked all the information, so I wanted to include it on this American Beauty Berry. So I just made it kind of like a collage, and I could actually add more and make it more of an artistic thing. Maybe I'll add some drawings to this just to make it look more interesting to look through. But my whole point of this is actually to learn about the plants and to learn about new plants and decide which ones I want to put out in the yard. So this flower here, Liriope, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I did that one. I didn't put quite as much information, but these I guess are good for erosion control. We're going to use them as a border plant, and that's what we have them used for so far. So anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. I wanted to share with you this nice leather journal, and again it is by Nomad Crafts. And overall, my opinion, just with the little bit I've done, I think it's going to be good for holding up the glue. It's definitely thick pages, so it's good for collaging. I found that because it is kind of a soft cover, it's helpful if I put like a book or something underneath it just when I'm putting the glue down, so the pages don't flop. The pens seem to hold up pretty well. I did them in the back, somewhere back here. Again, I would say my favorite was the Staedtler, the fine liner, if I want a fine line pen. I'm actually kind of liking the watercolor. I think I might experiment a little more with that. But again, I will put the link for this journal if you're interested in purchasing it through Amazon. I did join their affiliate program, so I would get a little bit of commission if you decided to purchase it through my link. Anyway, if you're interested, these are great for junk journaling. They hold up the glue. I'm sure you can come up with all sorts of ideas. So I'll put the link below, and I thank you for joining me, and happy journaling and happy crafting. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.